I didn't have a Delphi update in about a week. People have been giving out to me a small bit. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be a bit careful that I don't overdo it in a crucial time in the case. And to be honest, there's another case that a lot of stuff is happening in that I really care about also. Like, talking about these cases when things seem a bit cold is very different when they're so active and people are being currently dragged through the courts. I could easily make a Delphi video every day. I have a lot to talk about in that case. And I would probably get a nice chunk of views as well at the moment. But I want to be careful. I'm not going to milk it. A lot of the stuff that has been covered online on the Delphi case in the past week, we've covered here before. So have a look at the playlist and go back through some of the stuff here if you're new to the channel. I know I'm a true crime channel, but I'm also aware of the public's bloodlust for information, as they said in this case. Not that I can make much difference there, but every little helps. But I do have a bunch today for you, just 3 or 4 important updates. And I'll catch you up on everything you might have missed. That other case I was talking about, by the way, Michael Monkey Vaughan, has been a huge wake-up call for me in regards to Delphi. The public arraignment and documents getting out there before they were sealed. It's very risky, it's jeopardising the case, and it could jeopardise justice for the little boy. I think they 100% made the right decision in sealing the documents in the Delphi case and having their arraignment behind closed doors. Definitely, there's a good reason for it. But I really hope when all is said and done in the Delphi case that we feel satisfied. That we feel satisfied that everyone involved is caught and Abby and Libby have got justice. One of the big updates is actually something that I put out there a couple of weeks ago. Something that I'm now not sure I even should have. I didn't think it was something that could jeopardise the case, but what do I know? And as far as I know, it wasn't out there anywhere before I said it. But in a video a couple of weeks back, I was saying, with a lot of context around it, what I believed Kegan told investigators he threw into the river. A knife and a phone. I tried to give, like I said, as much context around that. Talked about Kegan being a liar. Talked about how I'm not a journalist. I don't have 2 sources. I have one that I really like. But I think people also know that I wouldn't be throwing information like that out there if I didn't think it was true. But it turns out it is true. Wish TV have reported on it during the week, and they'd have 2 sources easily. They have some journalists who have been really involved with this case in the past, with the Anthony Shots profile getting out there and stuff like that. But in an article they said that Kegan told investigators he threw a weapon and a phone into the Wabash River. And as I was reading it, I got so excited because I also made another video about the prospect of them finding a phone, speculating, is this what led back to Richard? And I was like, oh, is it true? Is it true they found a phone? And I was buzzing when I seen it, but as I read down through the article, my hopes were shattered because they said they didn't find them. They didn't find those items in the search. And I believe Kegan lied to them. He has definitely lied some bit. And can you imagine those agents dealing with Kegan? I believe it is the 2 lads from the first interrogation that are still dealing with him, and God bless them. Like, going through all that, how could you be dealing with Kegan? They took him out to a military base, probably had to get sign off for a few searches and maybe get those searches extended. That cost a small fortune. And he is still not telling the truth. He's trying to do a deal. He needs to give him something, and he is still not telling them the truth. He really makes me question my own beliefs around rough interrogations. I think Kegan would talk very fast if he had some sort of physical discomfort. Nothing mad, even something small. Like, if I put anyone watching this video in a room with Kegan, a taser, no camera, no consequences, you will probably get the truth out of him faster than these agents can. He is such a dirty, stinking liar. It's so frustrating. Just 30 minutes and a taser, that's all you need. To be honest, I'd probably take some fingers also, just to make sure he's telling the truth, and so he can't use a mobile phone again. Or, better again, just let Mike Paddy in on him. Mike will get him to talk. Kegan won't leave that room, but Mike will get him to talk. I'm obviously joking, half joking there, but just think about it for a second. Think about how frustrating it must be for those agents dealing with Kegan. I don't know how they do it. Their hands are tied. I think they're doing great. And I can't wait to see these interrogations in the future, because I was very impressed with them in the one that was leaked. I think they're real pros and know what they're doing. But they're still talking to him. Kegan is still in negotiations. I actually don't think those charges that were dropped had anything got to do with the information he has given them in regards to Delphi. I think those were just probably the weakest charges. He still has a load of charges. He's not going to get out for a very long time, but he's still talking to them. I believe he's still trying to do a deal, or whatever deal they've done isn't over the line just yet, because he's lying about something. There's nothing in the Wabash River, so he hasn't given them anything there. People have said, oh, maybe he said Richard. Maybe Murder Sheet didn't say who he was waiting for, so maybe he was waiting for Richard. But he didn't. He didn't tell them he was waiting for Richard. You guys know who he told them he was waiting for. So with this news that Kegan is more than likely still lying, at least he's not being fully truthful. Like, maybe he doesn't have info. That's how it had me thinking after I read that article. You have to have some evidence to back up Kegan's words, because his words are meaningless. And the whole thing just had me doubting any Kline connection. We heard that as part of the track that led him to Richard, they were reviewing old tips. We don't know why, but maybe that just came from realising that they got nowhere. They got nowhere with Kegan. Like something from a movie. 80% of movies going in one direction, and then some agent realises the Kegan angle is a dead end. Back to the office, drinks some whiskey, trying to cure his depression, thinks everything is lost. Starts reviewing old tips, and something clicks. Something clicks about Richard. Is that possible? And that's something I was thinking about during the week. Like, maybe they lied in the interrogation and the profile wasn't the last one to contact Libby. There still is a lot of coincidences to get over. I still think there is a connection. But that is something I was thinking about during the week. Back to Lone Wolf. But then Doug Carter came out and pretty much confirmed that there is a connection of some sorts. He was speaking on a podcast. He talked about tentacles. He talked about working on the connection between Kegan Kline and Abby and Libby. He didn't say a lot, but it's very telling. Here's the clip.
The other name that's involved in this whole story is Kegan Kline. Now, he has not been charged with anything in regards to the murders of these beautiful young ladies in Delphi, but we know that he's locked up. We know that he had some sort of communication with one of the ladies the day before they passed away. Has he been speaking to police? Has he been given some sort of plea deal to help police?
We'll continue to work on Kegan Kline and whatever his connectivity might be to Abby and Libby and almost 2,100 days ago. So we will continue to work towards that.
It's hard to believe it's been that long.
This case is unlike any that I've seen in almost a 40-year career. So there are so many different tentacles to this. It's very complex.
Doug is very careful with his words there. He doesn't say much, but he also says a lot. Typical Doug. I think there is a connection. I just have no idea what it is. I was moving away from it. The info from the old tip, nothing found in the search, Kegan being a dirty line pedo. But then Doug has just pulled me right back in. That, all the coincidences, the fact that the document is even sealed, I think there is a connection. But most importantly, I don't know if they can prove that. If they could, I think there would be more people have charges on them right now. And the clock is ticking. And going back to what I said at the start of this video, if there is other people involved, I hope they can prove it. I don't want the feeling when this is all over that Abby and Libby didn't get full justice. That there might be people who are involved somehow and got away with it. Tuesday morning is when there is a public meeting in the courthouse in Delphi in relation to the sealed documents. I'll put the court management order up here on the screen. Pause if you want to read it. It's pretty boring, there's not much in that. But it is wild to think that Bridge Guy and the girls' families are going to be in the same room Tuesday morning. I do believe Richard is Bridge Guy. I think there might be other people involved, but Richard is BG. And it's a bit crazy to think that finally that is happening. And it's a tricky one with the sealed documents. I think a version will be released in a couple of days, a week or two, a heavily redacted version. They have to put something out there, something that Richard doesn't have a clue. He got 2 attorneys, 2 good attorneys, by the way, which I'm happy about. They're going to make a very compelling argument that Richard has a right to know, and maybe he does have a right to know what's in those documents. He's up on a double homicide charge, so they have to tell him something, why he's there. I want him to have a really good defence team. I don't want any excuses. I want a fair trial. I want justice for Abby and Libby. And fingers crossed they're making progress on any other person or persons involved in this, so we're not left with a feeling of not being satisfied when it's all said and done. Good luck. God bless. I hope everyone has a nice day.